No kidding.
Just less than 25,000 barrels of oil, not gallons, barrels, about 1.5 million gallons of oil spill into farmlands and bodies of water from the U.S. pipelines in the last 10 years. This is just one example of one of the horrible effects the Dakota Access Pipeline, or DAPL, will have, and why it's necessary to stop it before it goes any further. The controversial nature of DAPL stems from the opposing side's concern about environmental hazards, legality issues, whom the land truly belongs to, and the harsh treatment of protesters. On the other hand, the pro-pipeline side points out the boost in economy, creation of jobs, high costs resulting from halting the project prematurely, and the transportation benefits of the transporting the oil through the pipeline. Both sides have been at this issue at odds for years now, and it's time to finally make a decision. The pipeline should not be built due to the legal gray area it presents, pernicious effect on the economy, harm to the environment, and brutal abuse to the protesters and heartless treatment of the Sioux. The DAPL is a 1,172-mile-long pipeline created with the purpose of easement of transporting crude oil from North Dakota to the Midwest. From there, it will then be transported to the Gulf Coast in order to get to the refineries. Each day, the pipeline would carry 570,000 barrels worth of oil. On his fifth day in office, President Trump issued a memorandum allowing the Army Corps to officially commence the building process, even though it was still a highly controversial topic. It was highly controversial mostly due to the environmental issues it presents. The environment suffers greatly from the consequence of the DAPL. Frank Fenner, genius scientist who discovered the smallpox vaccine, stated in 2010, Homo sapiens will become extinct, perhaps within the next 100 years. He predicted that all life on Earth will cease to exist in the coming century as a result of global warming, caused by greenhouse gas emissions and other revolting consequences humans have afflicted the Earth with. One of them being oil spills. Energy companies relay that oil spills are unlikely. However, this is untrue. Since the United States as a whole is producing and shipping more oil than 5 years ago, this increases the probability of an oil spill. For example, in 2010, 843,000 gallons of oil poured into the Kalamazoo River in Michigan. Again, in 2013, a Turoso logistics pipeline in North Dakota broke open and spilled 865,000 gallons of oil. In consequence from the spill in Michigan, the cleanup cost about $1 billion, lasted years, killed many aquatic animals, and the damage can never be undone. Because of these extremely negative consequences, safety examinations are now required to take place, and the results are rather shocking. In 2010, a safety examination came to the conclusion that most pipelines in the United States are more than 50 years old, which in turn presents a new problem. Not only did they have a chance to spill during their first 50 years, but after that, their chances are increased more. They have had a chance to deteriorate in age, creating even greater risks to public health and safety. The second issue that arises from the DAPL is its legality. Technically, the Trump administration did not have full and outright approval to commence the DAPL. Jan Hasselman, a lawyer with Earthjustice, representing the Standing Rock tribe, stated, "It vindicates what the tribe has been saying all along. The process was wrong, and the legal standards for projects like these need reform." The project was first originally halted in July of 2016 because the Army Corps had not met the requirements of the National Historic Preservation Act and the National Environmental Policy Act. Another legal issue is the fact that the Army Corps, appointed by President Trump to oversee the DAPL, was required to grant an easement, which is an official and additional form of approval, in order to dig under the Native American lake. However, on December 4th, the Army Corps did not fulfill this requirement and they got off scot-free, creating a legal gray area of whether DAPL is 100% approved or not. On February 8th, Trump granted this easement, allowing the project to commence. However, from December to February, it was moving forward but without any approval, creating a legal controversy. Along with its legality, the morality of DAPL is currently also waning. The U.S. is attempting to build on land that was once owned by the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. They're going to dig under their only and main clean water source within 100 miles of their village. This in turn will create and endanger their water supply of the wildlife in case of a spill. Lastly, the DAPL will be built on sacred prayer sites and burial grounds, overall an immoral place to be placing this pipeline. Due to all of these circumstances, a lot of protests have arisen in the past years. According to the First Amendment in the Constitution, all people are allowed to officially assemble in a peaceful manner. However, a lot of these protests have recently gotten quite out of hand. So far in North Dakota, hundreds of protesters have been arrested this year. For example, one instance that occurred early one morning was when the Sioux and other followers attempted to wade across Cannonball River, only trying to reach a sacred prayer site. However, they were halted and unable to access their own land. They carried no weapons across this river, only a barrier in case the situation went awry. Police and military forces sprayed pepper spray without warning, utilized powerful water hoses, and shot rubber bullets at the peaceful protesters who were only trying to pray on their own land. Not only are these protesters being denied the right to exercise the First Amendment, they are also getting physically injured. Saving money and ruining the environment along with injuring people's health is not a worthy cause to build a DAPL. The ill treatment of these people feeds into the next issue. According to the Treaty of Fort Laramie, signed in 1851, this land officially belongs to the Sioux. This treaty was, however, wrongfully reversed later, and the United States were allowed to build on this land, actually resulting in extremely negative consequences. The Army Corps constructed dams along their land on the Missouri River as part of their flood control project. However, it failed epically. Several villages of the Standing Rock were flooded. Inhabitants lost their homes and were forced to abandon their land. Over 50,000 acres of their land was flooded, negatively affecting many Sioux families. The DAPL will further cause damage to the land that has already been wrongfully denied to these Native Americans and previously already been ruined by the actions of the United States of America. While there are many negatives with the DAPL, there are a few great positives as well. About 12,000 local jobs will be created during the construction. Furthermore, the project would add around $129 billion from property taxes and increase a great boost to the economy. It is a $3.7 billion project with only 1,094 feet left to complete, meaning that it would cost more to halt the project now. Also, the DAPL would create a much safer method to transport oil, lessening the injuries, deaths, and catastrophic damage that rail cars or trucks create when they crash in transit. The Sioux argue that 38 miles of the DAPL are mapped out to run through land that belongs to them. However, the Supreme Court case, Lone Wolf v. Hitchcock, came to the decision in 1903 to repeal all previous Native American treaties, including the Treaty of Fort Laramie. Though it would be expensive to halt the project, the land officially belongs to the United States, and it's safer to transport the oil, it still should not be finished. Though there are numerous positives, the cons still completely outweigh them. The creation of jobs would be a welcome event in America. However, construction is almost finished, and those jobs will cease to exist upon the completion of DAPL. In addition, it would actually weaken the economy instead of boosting it. Think about this. Oil's biggest purpose is gas. Gas prices are currently at a relatively low price in America. Lowering the price further would cause companies to go bankrupt, in turn wounding the economy. On top of that, the oil and gas industries are not faring well. About 400,000 jobs in oil and gas are down from the 538,000, and net loss about 138,000 jobs in 2014. While it is true that it's safer, it will be immorally built on land. It will harm the economy, fail to create sustainable jobs, and create appalling consequences in regards to the Earth's environment. The Dakota Access Pipeline has many great benefits and copious amounts of people pushing for its implementation. However, these points are easily outnumbered by its cons. The DAPL is actually harmful to the economy, it does not create sustainable jobs, and it may not be 100% legally approved. It physically harms human beings merely attempting to exercise their right to protest. It passes through land that has erroneously been taken from the Sioux, and it's killing the environment. Conclusively, the DAPL is a careless project that should not be finished. Overall, it is irrefutable that the DAPL inflicts more damage than any other possible outcome it could possess. The final decision on whether DAPL should be completed or not is an obvious one. It is an unacceptable idea and should not be implemented under any circumstances.